Hello, Karina, and welcome to Energy Talks. You just so happen to be the first episode of season 4, and I'm so very, very excited to have you on and to get to hear a little bit more about your story.
Oh, thanks, Kennedy, and I appreciate the invite. I really do. Thanks for having me, and it's lovely to meet you face to face as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, something that I always like to start with is if you could just tell us who you are, where you're from, and then a little bit about your background.
Cool. So I'm Carina McKenzie, and I'm from Edinburgh, Scotland, in the UK, and I'm a spinal energetics practitioner and Reiki master. What I would say is I'm fairly new to the alternative therapy industry. My background mainly is most of my life I worked in the corporate world as a business analyst in the banking institutes. But back then I was living in constant survival mode. I suffered from anxiety, panic attacks on a daily basis, by the way, stress, I had insomnia, I had gut issues, digestive issues, the symptoms go on and on. But at that time, I didn't know that they were um, dysregulated nervous system symptoms. At the time, I just thought it was a condition, and I did accept medication from a doctor at the time. I had a tablet for my anxiety, a tablet for helping me sleep. I even had a tablet for depression. Now, I wasn't depressed, certainly not, but I was emotionless, because I felt like a robot just working day and day, multitasking my work and being a full-time mum. And I realise now that emotionless is also a symptom of a dysregulated nervous system. But I accumulated so many side effects through those tablets that I came off them fairly quickly. And I just continued to push on, juggling through my life, managing my children and my career. And it just got to the point where I thought, enough's enough, I can't do this anymore. And I went on my own personal deep inner journey, and I started reading and learning about how the mind works, the body works, learning tools, mindfulness, breath work, meditation, and incorporated meditation on a daily basis. And some authors, one of them that stands out is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He certainly helped me become a lot more aware of my thoughts and observant of my thoughts and how I was reacting. Um, and meditation, he took me to a different level. I started feeling and sensing energy. So that then got me exploring alternative therapies such as Reiki and quantum healing, and also QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnotherapy technique, which is pretty cool. And even plant medicine from the Amazon rainforest. I would try anything that would help me understand myself beyond the surface, and I did actually heal myself a lot back then. I didn't have any symptoms of the, anxiety or the feeling panic attacks, or my gut issues and my digestive issues sort of calmed down. So I did do a lot of healing, and that kind of triggered me as a catalyst to want to help other people. I thought if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And that encouraged me to then learn Reiki as well, because I was feeling and sensing energy at that time. And it completely saddens me when you see so many people in the world today that are suffering, from all these symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system. So yeah, that's what got me on the road to um, being, I don't know what you call it, a holistic therapist. Yeah, that's my background.
Nice. So, then what exactly was it that drew you into spinal energetics?
So spinal energetics itself, I don't believe in coincidences. I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And one day I actually opened my Instagram. I wasn't searching, I wasn't scrolling, and there was Dr. Sarah Jane doing her thing on the table, and I was just like, wow, intrigued, fascinated, what's going on? I could see that the client on the table was having a huge, deep somatic release, and her body was shaking. Now, I've personally experienced shaking like that just through meditation, and I wanted to understand
Mm.
more of what was happening, because there's no information out there when you research it. There's information about Kundalini awakening and things like that, and I thought, I don't think it's a Kundalini awakening that happened to me personally, and I just wanted to understand it more. So I decided to book up immediately a block of sessions, and I tried it for myself. And as I said, I done a lot of healing on my journey, and I went in so naive, thinking, I've got nothing to heal here. I've healed. I'm only here for the experience. Whoa, was I wrong? I had, I was so wrong. I think I did heal everything mentally and emotionally, but I didn't realise how much my body was holding on to all the trauma from my childhood and everything else, a lot of limited beliefs. So yeah, that was really powerful. The first few sessions for me, I cried, I laughed, I screamed, I moved on the table, and that was a huge learning curve for me. I thought, and that was for somebody that thinks that they'd done healing on themselves and had nothing left to heal. I was so wrong. We've got so many deeper levels of healing, and that experience in itself drew me to want to learn the modality, so I could share that with my clients as well.
Yeah. I'd love to hear more about your first spinal energetic session.
My
What
first
was
one.
that? Yeah. What was that
That's going
like?
back a couple of years now. So I remember having an internal experience at first. It started off a bit of an internal, sorry, that's my dog in the background, an internal experience. And I remember thinking, I want to scream, but my body was holding on tight. It's like, scream, scream. But I kept going, no, I don't want to scream. It was like I was embarrassed. I'm thinking, I'm on a Zoom call, I'm on mute, nobody can hear me. There's nobody in the house, yet I kept being really protective of myself, thinking no, but my body was just gnawing at me and pushing me and pushing me. And eventually, what felt like after about maybe 9 or 10 times, I ended up screaming on the bed, and it felt like 5, 10 minutes I was screaming. But feeling that liberation and feeling
Mhm.
free after it, was like a huge weight had come off, not just my shoulders, but my body. I felt so much lighter. That was a profound experience. Yeah, which is why I just had to keep continuing the sessions, because every session's a different experience, and you don't just experience something different within your own body and well-being. But yeah, it's a really cool experience. So that's why I kept coming back as well.
Yeah. So, what were some of the effects and changes that you noticed in your internal and external reality after
Sure.
those first few sessions?
So I look at spinal like literally gave me a backbone. Is there not a saying that says grow a backbone? There's something like that. There's a saying that says that. And it's like I have grown a backbone because I've become more empowered. I can set boundaries now, healthy boundaries, without feeling guilty. I'm not people pleasing anymore, whereas before I couldn't say no to people. So it's like you have this inner strength and empowerment that you can't really explain until you experience it yourself. So that was the first initial benefits that I started noticing
Mhm.
myself personally, was the confidence, being able to set boundaries, not having the fear to do so. And yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that has progressed since then, I would say, but that was initially the first benefits, definitely.
Yeah. So, what were some of the things that you maybe noticed? You spoke of boundaries and being able to like set boundaries, have a backbone, but how did some of your personal relationships shift and change after you were having
So
those sessions?
I would say I've lost a few friends, but that's a healthy thing. It's like I don't now tolerate unhealthy people in my life. And I have healthy boundaries with close family and friends. So yeah, I would say it's beneficial in that sense. And that's before I would never, lose a friendship or upset a family member. But now I'm quite confident to actually stand my ground and say how I feel without worrying about how they're going to react.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to
Yeah.
that. Um, so you spoke a little bit about what kept you coming back to the sessions, just like
Mm-hmm.
this sense of empowerment, feeling that you had these new boundaries that you wanted to continue to cultivate. But like, what were some other things that just like kept you coming back to the table or the bed?
Of course, I felt like it's like you're unpeeling an onion, it's like layer by layer. And I just wanted to keep experience that deeper level.
Mhm.
And what I would say is initially, spinal energetics practitioners talk about the mind-body connection, and I couldn't understand that. It doesn't matter how much I've read and I've learned about the mind-body, because we all know we're mind, body and soul. But I thought to myself, I've actually been treating the mind, body and soul as three separate entities. You know, and the analogy I give to my clients is, well, your body is made of trillions and trillions of cells, and each individual cell has its own individual role to play, and collectively that cell works in a system like your respiratory or your vascular system, and then that system works as a whole with your whole body. But when they're aligned, you know, when they're aligned, they work collectively as a whole body. So it's like your mind, body, and soul's pretty much the same as that. Um, and after a few sessions, I would say my mind and body were reconnected. And unless you experience it, it's really difficult to articulate. But for me, it's like your ego is no longer in the driving seat. You know, it's like your higher self is in the driving seat. You're seeing everything from clearer, it's more clarity, and you're seeing everything from a higher perspective as well. So it's like I'm no longer dealing with anything from a fear-based perspective, you know, and nothing actually does bother me like it used to. Like I used to be quite a fearful and worry quite a lot, worrisome person. And don't get me wrong, we do have challenges on a day-to-day basis within life, but it's just like water off a duck's back. You know, nothing actually phases me anymore. And things used to really worry me. The little things in life used to worry me all the time. I would get myself so ill with worry, you know, and now it's just like, I have no fear. So I'm so glad and honoured to have continued my sessions with spinal energetics over quite a long period, to be fair, and I still receive spinal energetics every 2 to 4 weeks for maintenance because I love it. But yeah, it's given me a whole better perspective and being, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So something that you spoke about too was how your sessions that you receive continue to be via Zoom. I would love to hear a little bit about your experience just with strictly having an online session. I know a lot of people are kind of like, but does online work? What is how is energy able to be transmuted through this Zoom video call platform?
Yeah.
And I would love to just hear a little bit more about your experience uh,
Well,
doing online sessions.
the way I explain it to clients is it's quantum physics. There's no space, distance, or time with energy, you know, and there's lots out there that quantum physics that proves that there's no space and time. But I find it a lot more profound as you're more relaxed in your own environment, you know, to let go. Like my example I gave earlier, I was screaming. Now, I don't know if I would scream in front of a practitioner, even if I'd been for 5 or 6 or 10 sessions. I don't know because I'm quite a protective and I used to be quite of an introvert, you know, so I'm quite a protective person. So I don't know if I would fully let go and allow that release to happen if I'd been face to face, whereas online, you're a lot more comfortable in your own environment and space to surrender to the process of spinal energetics and even allowing your body to move, you know, because there's clients that go, oh, what's my body doing? And they start restricting their body from moving. Whereas I say, just let it out, you know, cry me a river. So I actually tell them that I find it more profound than a one-to-one session, you know.
Mhm. I totally agree. A lot of the sessions that I receive, I do so in my own home. And there's something that's so comforting about being able to go from that space straight to a bath or to a meal or something that like grounds you, instead of having to like sit in your car for 20 minutes before you feel like
I
you can
know.
drive back home.
And
So
do you know
I,
what's nice as well? I've had clients face to face, and it literally takes them 20 to 30 minutes to get back into their body, you know, and I can use a bit of Reiki and I can touch their feet and I can try and ground them as much as possible and get them wiggling their toes and their fingers, but it's like they just don't want to get up. They're in a different space, and you've just got to allow that time. You're at home, you can just continue lying on your bed.
Mhm.
And I do tell clients if they're coming on Zoom calls, make sure you're not going to work after it, you know, make sure you've got a good hour off, don't be rushing away and planning to do anything, so you can relax and enjoy that integration time.
Mhm. Mhm. So, Karina, my favorite question to ask everyone is if you were to describe spinal energetics with just one word, what would it be?
Evolutionary.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Could you
I
elaborate
think
on
it's
that?
and I do think I see Dr. Sarah evolving spinal energetics as well, which is quite exciting for the future, for practitioners and for clients. So yeah, evolutionary. because it
Yeah.
is transformative. I've personally experienced how transformative it is, and that's coming from somebody that thought she had healed herself, so, it can, if it can do wonders with me, with somebody who's ignorant and thinks that they've healed themselves, because it's a continuous journey. Our healing journey is continuous, we're constantly evolving as beings. So yeah, evolutionary. That's a good word to describe.
Perfect. I love it, Karina. If you could do me a favor, we'll go ahead and kind of wrap it up here. But if you could let everyone know, maybe you have a Instagram handle or a website you'd like to share, where can people find you? And then what sessions do you offer in person, online, groups, anything like that you want to add
Sure.
in?
So all my handles are the same on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's at Sacred Energy with Carina, and Carina is spelled Carina. Or you can get me on my website, which is www.sacredenergyhealing.co.uk. So that's how you can contact me. Thank you very much.
You are so very welcome, Karina. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and share a little bit more about yourself and your story. So I look
Thank
forward
you.
to, yeah, I look
Thank
forward to
you.
talking to you soon.
Same with you. Take care. Have a lovely day. Take care.